Thanks for tuning in. The Barbershop Sports Talk.
In the NFL, what is the name of the game? Win games. Get into the playoffs. Have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Put your best foot forward. Now let's put this in perspective with the Houston Texans season. They're 1-1 on the season. They've been scrappy and competitive. They blew out the Jacksonville Jaguars, who might be the worst team in the NFL. And they were competitive with the Cleveland Browns, who many people think are one of the best teams in the NFL. And their starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, was out for part of that game. The Afc South. Let's still keep this in perspective. The division they're in. Because you might say, mediocre talent still for the Texans. The AFC South. Moribund division. One of the worst divisions in all of football. The Tennessee Titans are barely 1-1. They got blown out by the Cardinals in week 1. In week 2, they needed a comeback from God to beat the Seattle Seahawks. And it was in overtime. Got to 1-1 by the skin of their teeth. Look at the Colts. 0-2. Their starting quarterback, Carson Wentz, hurt. Doesn't look like he's going to be playing anytime soon. The Jacksonville Jaguars, like I said, 0-2. Worst team in the NFL. Tyrod Taylor got hurt against the Browns. Davis Mills is going to start on Thursday Night Football against the Carolina Panthers, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL. Now, here was Davis Mills' stats against the Cleveland Browns. He was 8 of 18. Pretty bad. 44.4%. Pretty bad. Sounds like a Tim Tebow number, except that he doesn't have any rushing. 102 passing yards, 58 QB rating. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Not very good. Moribund, disgraceful, unacceptable, incompetent, trash. Not something that you'd want. Replacement level, poor quarterback play. And we know in this league, if you have bad, like you can get by in the NFL with mediocre quarterback play, right? You can get by if you have the really good talent around you and a good offensive coaching. You can get by. But when it comes to having bad quarterback play, you can't do it. As a Bills fan, I can tell you about a guy named Nathan Peterman. That's bad quarterback play. 44% completion percentage, bad quarterback play. Particularly when you're not making big throws down the field and you can't run the football. If you're going to be having 44% completion percentage, you need to be making big-time throws down the field at least. And you need to be dynamic with your legs. Other than that, you're not doing anything to really help the offense. Particularly, the Texans aren't that talented of a team, and I don't think their coaching is fantastic, but it's good enough. So they need at least competent quarterback play, and Tyrod Taylor was giving them competent quarterback play. Now Tyrod Taylor's gone. And you know who's on their roster? Because Davis Mills is going to start, and Jeff Driscoll, who I'm sure people that are listening right now, you haven't heard the name Jeff Driscoll since we saw him with Will Muschamp in Florida, like in 2013. Jeff Driscoll is, again, a replacement level quarterback. That's why he was on the practice squad. But you know who is on their roster too? A man named Deshaun Watson, who threw for over 4,000 yards last year. 33 touchdowns, 65% completion percentage, top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He's on the roster. And you might say, oh, Daryl, there's all this legal trouble Deshaun's in. They can't play him. Well, he hasn't been really charged with anything. He's not going to prison by the fact that he gets to go to the Houston Texans practice and he's still on the active roster. The NFL hasn't even suspended them themselves. The Texans haven't suspended him. The Texans are just having him on the active roster and making him inactive. So the highest power of authority in the United States of America, I think we can all agree, the American legal system says, right now, Deshaun is a free man. He can walk and do what he pleases. It is sentenced to proven guilty. Now also, let's look at this. The second highest power in this circumstance is the NFL, the employer, the people in the New York office, Roger Goodell. They haven't done anything either, and they've done an investigation. And they've decided not to suspend him indefinitely and put him on the commissioner's exempt list. So if I'm the Houston Texans, you play him. He is your best option. Don't put Davis Mills out there or Jeff Driscoll and have them embarrass themselves and have your team really have a poor showing on a nationally televised game on Thursday Night Football. Don't do that. That's not okay. That's not cool. That's not right. And it's not the Texans' job to uphold what Deshaun Watson's morals are. You're innocent until proven guilty. Like I said, and the NFL hasn't even suspended him. And you want to know what? If the NFL doesn't think that's good for the league, they can suspend him before he steps on the field and say, no, commissioner's exempt list, kibosh, Deshaun will not play. And that's fine, because Deshaun Watson will still get paid his salary. And it even helps the Texans, because now instead of using one of your 53 or whatever roster spots, he is no longer on the roster, and you can have somebody else on that roster who might actually be able to help you win games. Right now, they have somebody on their roster who they are just paying to sit there. That is bad business, where you can force the NFL's hand. Worst case scenario, right? The NFL suspends him, and you get a free roster spot. And Deshaun still gets paid. Everybody's happy. And also, Deshaun does not have to go to work anymore. He doesn't have to be at the Houston Texans facility. Doesn't have to do scout team safety or whatever he was doing at one point. Doesn't have to do that. And best case scenario, he gets to play. And you give your team a real chance to win some football games. Now, people could also say, oh, Daryl, Deshaun could get hurt. Well, and that could hurt his trade value. Well, that is true, but Deshaun Watson tore his ACL twice, one time at Clemson and one time in the NFL. And teams were still wanting to trade for him before, right? He's had all this legal trouble, and teams were still offering first-round picks. You want to know when teams will stop offering first-round picks? If Deshaun Watson is in jail, behind bars, that's when NFL teams will stop offering first-round picks. That's when Deshaun Watson's value will be truly hurt. Him getting hurt does nothing. He'll still be able to play quarterback. That's just the fact of the matter. And you want to know what the real true shame would be? If Deshaun Watson got indicted before they ever had the chance to trade him. That would be the biggest crime of it all. From the Texans' perspective, obviously I'm not talking about the victims or anything like that. From the Texans' perspective in terms of winning football games. So the Texans, give your team a chance. That's been scrappy, that's been competitive, that's fought hard for David Culley. And play Deshaun Watson. Put the onus on the people who are in charge. Roger Goodell in the NFL. That is my message to the Houston Texans and to you.